Welcome. Hello, everyone. This is Sticks and Stones. How is everyone doing today? Doesn't matter, I can't hear you. I am here with another really good old friend of mine, Guy Ross.
It has been a while.
It has been a
yes.
very long time. Very long time. I'm excited.
Well, thank you for having me.
No, man, thank you.
You know, long
I
time listener,
appreciate
first
this.
time guest. You know,
Long time listener. Like your show's been on for a week.
oh,
My bad.
I've liked that team for years. Like,
Oh man, how you been? How's life?
life is dog eat world, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. You know what I mean? Like, I mean that's how I feel sometimes, but not too bad though. Not too bad. I can't complain. I think
Can we now though? Like just the way where we live in, the day and age we live in, and what we got is what we got. You better enjoy what you have.
Oh my God.
Otherwise
that's the truth. Yeah, every day you gotta live every day like it's your. I mean, I would say it's like you gotta find the middle of that. It's like living every day like it's your last day in some aspects, but who am I to talk? You don't eat the whole cake every day. You know what I mean? Like
right.
but yeah, I just you got. I mean, basically, got to get in where you fit in type deal nowadays. Like it's rough for everybody.
There's definitely a split. There's definitely a split.
Right.
Like ideologies have taken over completely. There's a big split. And it's almost like if you don't think this way, you're shunned by the entire community, and if you don't think this way, you're made fun of by the other side. It's like it's a conflicting going back and forth, and it's annoying at times, but it's an eye opener to see exactly where everything is headed, and personally, it's scary. But
yeah, I mean, right now everything that's happening and just the news alone. Like I honestly, you can give yourself an anxiety problem. You can give yourself a problem if you watch the news for like an hour a day.
Oh yeah, and
like
it's tough. And doing this, when I do the videos by myself, it's more political in a sense, and I have to watch video after video after video, read article after article. So I'm not saying something stupid that isn't true. Even though a lot of it is my own opinion, but I like to read off of headlines that are going on. Like, obviously, right now, the whole Ukraine thing, that shit.
That's a terrible situation.
It's like them. They're the definition of doing what you got to do.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you got to give props where they're deserved. Like, you got this mega power. You got this giant powerhouse. Attacking a smaller country and the people standing up for it. That's a beautiful thing, but it's also a really scary thought to think that there's other political motivations behind that country for doing that. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? For me, like it's a scary thought because I'm like the first thought in my head is like, I don't know if he really gives a shit about Ukraine. Is it about baiting us into something so he can do what he wants to us?
Yeah, what's the underlying reason?
Right.
You hear what's being told to you, but what's really going on?
Like,
because let's be honest, Russia could have annihilated this whole country within a day if they wanted to.
Well,
so
I mean,
what's going on?
Right. They say history repeats itself. I mean, that's a true state. Like, what is it? Is it in the 1960s right now? Like, if our kids were in school, would they be hiding under their desk again?
Yeah, right.
Like,
put your mask on; it'll save you from nuclear war.
Right. get the new filter that blocks out radiation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're good to go. But that's my scary thought process. Is are we going to be living through another Cold War per se?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then. For me, I don't mean to like just jump like my thought process over you or anything.
No,
but
do what you do.
Like, it's a very terrifying thought. Just for the fact that, there's two sides of everything, and as this country goes, as history goes, like there's a little part of the back of your voice. It's like the way this country is. Do we deserve it? You know what I'm saying? Is it like? We want to be this giant superpower stepping on everybody's toes and putting our nose in everybody's fucking business. Like, let's be honest. Like, if you went to the UN, how many actual countries right now would want to jump on that and be like, "F them"? Like, how many other people, no matter who your allies say they are, like, you know what I mean? How many countries like, "Oh, we got you, we got you"? How many are actually secretly like, "Please bomb the fuck out of them"? Like,
that's a scary thought.
You know, even if it's not just the people, like, you get a lot of ignorant people that have a lot of over the top beliefs and stuff like that, but your own government, like, let's be honest, our government don't give a fuck about us.
No.
We're here to consume and then die. Like, if you actually wanted to look at the view of our government to us.
Right, it does seem like that.
Like,
actually.
you know, and for me, the consuming and dying part would be just the fact that if you look at any other country, the stuff they ban and anything that's like Switzerland, that like, oh, no trans fats, no, you know, this, no that. Yeah. This country's like, take this. You know what I mean? Like, oh no,
and that's a problem.
You know,
what is there? There's only 4 or 5 food companies in this country that control 100% of the food within this country.
And that's the thing. I don't have a lot of research behind, but yeah,
like they like say like Monsanto, like that's a chemical company, but they put out food. They're making food. Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's a scary thought.
Like, Agent Orange. It says orange.
Right.
I like oranges.
It's almost natural. Like, you know, like. Well, I said something funny the other day, or at least I thought it was funny. Right? I don't know sometimes. Like, you know,
we'll be the judge of that.
I throw my shot. You know what I'm saying. But if right now, if 2 years from now, somebody came to me and was like, "Hey, guy, you know that Beyond Meat you've been eating? That shit's people." It wouldn't even surprise me. I'd be like, it makes fucking sense.
That's like, the other white man.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it wouldn't even surprise me. I'd be like, I knew there's a reason I like that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
fuck.
I was eating my enemies. You know what I mean? Like,
if you ever got trapped in the Himalayas somewhere and you had to eat your buddy or your partner, at least you already know what he's gonna taste like. You don't have to worry about seasoning.
The power of processing, folks. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I swear to God, we're not these people.
Oh, no, God, please. Don't put me on some list. I'm just saying. Like, I don't
right?
know,
Like, look, it's just a hyper...
Right, this is a theory, folks. If I nailed it, I did it by accident. There's no research behind it. I don't know. I just...
I have no... that was good. I have no clue what human tastes like.
Right. Keep going to that Chinese restaurant and asking for the humane beef. You know? Like, so that's not how you pronounce it. Are you sure? Like,
I want human beef. What? Is there an issue?
Right. That makes me think of Derek too, though.
Everything we just said came from Derek Miller. All these jokes are his.
Yeah.
You know, and
gotta give credit where it's due on that one. Like,
well, I mean, full circle. When we were when I had him on the show, we praised you. Like, there was a part of this where we were like, "Hey,
I turned off the video like 5 seconons before that." Like, shit.
You had to him.
God damn it.
No, well, it's like, you know, we brought you up, you know, and say that you how we were talking about comedic timing, and it's like,
my timing was always off. That was something you always told me.
You were always 10 seconds off.
The delay, like, you know, that it would hit me that it was funny, and then the moment has already passed. Like,
right?
You know,
everybody's in the kitchen doing whatever. You come up, so here's the punchline, and we're just like, what?
You said that 5 minutes ago, and everybody laughed. Damn it! Like, I mean, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? That was part of your charm, man. We knew when we were all in a group and we were making these jokes. We knew 5 seconds later, 10 seconds later, this guy's gonna come with the punchline.
I'm like, yeah, I'll eventually get. I'm on my own time schedule mentally. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
I always looked at you as like a mix between Rodney Dangerfield and John Candy in like the comedic aspect, you know.
And then I look like Nick Frost to boot, like, you know. And that's the funny thing is, Chris, you said this to me so many years ago.
Oh, here we go.
So many years ago when Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
When it came out, I didn't have a beard, and you were like, you look like that fucking guy. And at the time, I'm like, you know. I like flash forward.
That movie now.
Well, right, but flash forward now, into the Badlands. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's right.
I had
He
the
was in
whole
that.
beard, my hair is shaved, and I'm in a Walmart, and people came up to me.
They thought you were him. You should
Yes.
you should have hit the British accent.
Fucking God, right? You know who you remind me of? And it's like I automatically knew, but then that moment came back to me. Like I was like,
man.
son of a bitch. Like, oh man. Like, I mean, I do appreciate that though. Like,
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's only. I don't want to say it was. It was never like a knock on you because that guy's a great actor. He's a great comedian.
I get what you're saying,
I always
right.
thought you were a good comedian, awesome with improv. You were always funny. Everybody was always laughing around you. I mean,
I'm more of like sometimes it's like a situational humor. You
oh,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
on
Like,
the spot, on the spot.
right. If I thought about it too hard, it's going out the window.
10 minutes later, here it is.
Right. My brain got turning, like, oh.
And I remember having that conversation with you, saying, you know what, if you can just get that timing down, you would be so good.
That's.
But you thought about it too much. You kept
chronic overthinker.
Yeah.
Even
when
when it's just like a simple fucking thing, like on an everyday basis, you know. Should I make chicken or should I make turkey burgers today? Well, if I did that, I have to do this, and I would take that out of the like that's my brain is like in a constant.
Right.
Like,
and that's a form of anxiety. You know,
I'm sure.
It's
it's like my father suffered from like severe anxiety, like really really bad anxiety. Like I mean, it's probably one of the contributing factors to what he passed away from. Like he was smoking like 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah, he was.
Like.
Oh man, I love this story.
He has
He
Beetlejuice
sounded
voice,
just
right.
like this.
Oh,
I
yeah,
shit you not.
Did. Yeah, but
And he
that's
always came up with like, when I used to work in the sewers, I was cutting rats. And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. No, that was
I
him.
used to love this guy's story, and he would just randomly walk into the room.
Oh yeah, just
Sometimes 2 cigarettes.
I'll tell you what, this is exactly what I used to hunt the
Right.
biggest fucking rats in New York that you've ever seen.
It's like,
oh man, like,
and you knew like partially he was full of shit, but like,
oh
you
no,
just,
for sure, right.
Us as kids were like,
yeah, like
he was such a, and man, I'll tell you what, that talk about the Odd Couple, man. He had to have weighed what, 97 pounds.
oh yeah, like him and me, like right now, if he was alive, like he and him would do the number 10 for Halloween. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like most people when they say that's your dad, yeah, I'm related to him. Yeah,
You know what? It's
we
funny
have the same
too.
ears. It's
That's what I
okay.
was just gonna say. It's
right.
like if you just added more weight to his face, he would be you. But do your ears, like you're identical.
Right.
You guys.
I got my dad's ears and my
identical.
mom's nose. My nose sticks up a little bit on the end.
Yeah,
like,
the little. Yeah.
I think it's from the Dutch side. But I don't know much about it. Like
It's like it's from the Dutch side, but I don't like wooden shoes.
Right. They make shoes out of wood. I lost interest. I don't fucking know.
I don't know how they do it. It looks uncomfortable.
Right.
Sitting there walking down, sound like a prize horse walking down the street.
It's a Monty Python bed with 2 coconuts. You know.
Classic movie. Very classic movie.
Oh man.
So you worked in the medical field. Tell me
mean,
about that. How was that, especially through the whole COVID thing?
it had its brutal moments, and then it had its wonderful benefits actually. Like it's terrible to say that I know the economy was totally fucked, especially in that first year of all the people losing their jobs and not being able to work and being on unemployment and like the country being in turmoil. You know.
Yeah, it was bad times.
The fucked up thing is, on the positive note for me, being in healthcare, that's like guaranteed fucking job. Like the job's not going nowhere.
Right.
And then I don't want to say you can get away with murder, but like you know what I mean. Like you if you didn't come to work a day, they'd probably come to your house and make sure you're okay. No, don't worry about it. Have some soup. We'll see you tomorrow. It's okay. that aspect of it. But what I'll say, like the biggest thing for me is seeing how COVID actually affected people.
Right.
When you're quote unquote on the front line, I won't say I was necessarily actually on the front line, but I feel hesitant to say this, but I feel like it is very over exaggerated, like the effects of COVID.
I believe it.
Like, and I'll say that I can't give names because of HIPAA laws and other things like that, and that I would instantly be fired. Like, I'm sure they have a corporate lawyer that just watches shit on the internet all day and would be like,
Just
he said a patient's
waiting
name,
for you,
F him,
waiting
he's
for
gone.
it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure
Right.
that person does exist, but the thing is, like, we were mentioning this outside earlier, is that, like, in healthcare or just in general in life, like, there's so many other things that people die from. You know, I watched people die from just a regular flu. You know, year after year after year, every flu season, like, elderly people that have compromised immune systems die from just the flu.
Right.
You know, you get to a certain age and you leave the window open too long, and you know, I mean, it's sad to say that, but that is the case. But at the same time, I seen people. I had like an 80-something-year-old patient that had exacerbated COPD, like terrible, like they're on a feeding tube. They you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not the healthiest person on a standard day. Beat COVID. Hands down, come back just the way they were. Like, and at the same time, you have somebody that walking around and does for themselves that died. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that goes hand in hand with everything. You know, pneumonia can kill you.
Yeah.
It can kill me or you right now. Like that's where you, like, I get a little like, is it you know what I mean?
Right. And see, that's what confused me a little bit about it, because I'm seeing elderly people with serious health issues kick its ass.
Right.
And then
right.
I know of a story of a 33-year-old absolutely healthy guy, no
Right.
health problems,
Marathon
no issues,
runner,
whatever.
You know? Right.
Caught COVID, a couple months later, died.
But here's a very similar story to what we're just saying. Right. This is my own family. You know, is where the story comes from. But I had an uncle that his nickname was Beep. Like, I guess all the uncles is like old school Italian. Like, he was like a bookie, and my other uncle, his name was Tootsie or something like that, and like his dad was named like
Fuck with
Whip.
him, you wind up in the trunk of a car.
But I mean, in general, right? Like, the one guy died from getting shot in the back with a shotgun.
Jesus Christ!
Like my Uncle Beep's brother.
You had COVID.
But yes, yeah, right. But the point of this story is, my Uncle Beep, God bless him, rest in peace. He drank scotch like a fish and smoked cigars every day of his life. He almost lived to his 90s.
God bless
Now,
him.
I have an aunt that died in her, like, I want to say maybe she was pushing 50s. Like, I don't have a really great timeline on that. Like, I couldn't accurately tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't, you know, tried to eat healthy, like, lived a moderate, like, have more healthy style than me.
Right.
Said she had a headache, went to bed, dead.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, realistically in life,
that
like,
literally just happened to Bob Saget.
well, yeah, there's a whole.
I mean, I know
mess of, like,
he had a lot of health issues, but they said the cause of death was because he like hit his head.
right, but
or
you
he did
didn't
something
hear
like
a
that.
follow up to that?
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
apparently the autopsy results did come out for that, and the DA or the whatever, what do they call the person that does the autopsy? Like the
Bill.
His name is Bill. Damn it! Like the medical
He has a
examiner,
name,
the chief medical examiner said that the blunt trauma from his head injury was consistent with, like, falling out like a 5-star window.
Jesus
And
Christ.
there's no way he could have bumped his head. So, like, I apparently, like, I know the family may want to put it to rest or whatever, but there may be, like, a criminal, like, investigation going into that. Like,
No
like
shit.
they're saying, like, the medical examiner said there's no physical way that just hit, like, either, like, a baseball bat, a car accident, falling out of a 5-story window
That's
was the only way that type of trauma could have happened to him.
Is there an article about that?
It has to be. Like, so I heard this information through somebody else that was reading an article to me. Like, I didn't actually see it myself.
How do you think we'd find that? Let's see.
That I couldn't tell you. The internet and its mysterious ways to me.
There we go. Let's see if this works. Yeah, head trauma. Let's see. Cause of death was brain bleed. See, you know what? And like, I really don't think we'd find any articles that go in depth into something like that, because that's something
Right.
like they would kind of want to keep on the
Well, I'm
wraps.
saying-
Maybe not keep on the wraps, but
Investigators reveal new details, right?
where's that? I'm blind.
Right there, you got it. You got your hand on it, yeah.
MSN, not necessarily the.
Well, I mean, right. I mean, that's the other thing is like you gotta take everything with a
man.
grain of salt too.
Exactly.
Like,
Something an accidental blow to the back of his head. He passed on in his sleep on Wednesday. Officials propose a new theory. Final moments. Okay. Show no sign of distress. See, this is what really
kinda
makes it weird right here. This line shows
conflicting
no
stuff.
sign of distress, but yet had a head wound. Reported hung a do not disturb on the sign.
I mean, then again, this like the mentioned article that somebody else is reading could have been a tabloid type deal too. Like,
yeah.
To be fair of me saying it, like I don't want to say like
Right,
this is concrete fact. Like I know
you don't know until it's.
I was in the room next door. I witnessed it. You know,
right.
I'm not saying that, but.
But yeah, this is just and again, look, they and this right here, this line right here also pisses me off. Because they want to push COVID so hard.
Well, right,
he
but
didn't even have it when he died. And because he did have it, that is the main focus of his death.
Well, right.
Like,
I
he tested
also,
positive for COVID-19 prior to his death.
Right.
How long ago prior to his death? What, a month?
Right.
2?
I mean, that's the thing, too. If you look at COVID, like, the changes it's made over the CDC, now it's like if you get COVID, they're just telling you it went from, like, 14-day quarantine to 5 days, like maybe. Like, you can take 5 days and you'll be fine.
Right,
Like,
all of a sudden it just didn't matter.
Well, like, and then a lot of people will say this. I've heard this been said, and it made me kind of laugh about it. COVID suddenly disappearing right at midterm elections.
Oh, there's a Simpsons meme. You know how when Homer backs up into the bush and then comes out again?
Right.
He's got like a picture of the COVID on his chest with the mask on. He falls back and comes back, and there's a picture of Ukraine.
Right, but it's like one thing replaces the other.
Of course. Just like how all COVID deaths replaced all flu deaths.
Right, or they just recently now started talking about doing flu shots and stuff again. Like it's something that never disappeared.
Right, if you get hit by a car, go to the hospital.
Oh, they're gonna test
if
you
you
for
had
it.
fucking COVID at any point in time, that is what you're there for.
I
Boom,
would say the
money
numbers for COVID deaths are drastically exaggerated. Like,
oh yeah, I don't believe it's as high as they said they were.
Now
maybe in the older population, but no.
Right,
the kids, what 0.001%?
I obviously am not a medical professional by any means, but I do also have a theory on COVID testing too. Like here's the thing, like, and this if you think about this the way I'm thinking about it, like when you get the flu, right? They obviously know like each flu shot each year is like a different strand of the flu. That's why you keep needing the flu shot, which is basically aligning with the same thing with COVID. Here's the thing. Now the flu virus can live on surfaces and stuff, blah blah blah. Like that's how we get sick. Germs live on shit, right?
Right.
Okay, so. You're testing for COVID. Like my work, I get tested for COVID twice a week at work.
Oh.
I mean, but yeah, but here's my theory. Like I said, it has no medical basis behind it. But here's my theory: if you tested for the regular flu, you'd probably find it too.
It's the same type of virus.
If you tested for whatever, you pick any random germ, any random disease, and then you actually tested like you're testing for COVID, you'd probably come up positive for all sorts of fucking shit that you came in contact with throughout the day. Yeah. Now, if your immune system, just like any other virus, bacteria, whatever it is, if you grew antibodies to it, and they're saying if you test positive for it that you're asymptomatic but you still have it. Now, in that case, would it be true for everything else that I just said? Like, am I asymptomatic to flu right now? Because if you shove a swab up my nose, and like I'm carrying around the flu vaccine or the flu virus because I touched it on the way in or some shit.
Right.
Am I gonna pass that to you? Okay, if you're immune compromised, that's 100% possible. With a handshake or this or that, but that goes to everything, not just COVID, not just you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, like.
There's a lot of TikTok videos. I mean, I'm not gonna pull them up, but I'm eventually gonna do the experiment myself, where they took a bunch of those fast-acting COVID tests. Somebody just put water on one. Somebody like put a piece of fruit on the other, and everything came up positive. You know, those tests are absolutely useless.
Well, I mean, the tests aren't up to. I feel like they're not up to date. It's not. I feel like it's like
if you can put it in water and come up positive.
Well, right, but if I pee on a pregnancy test, it comes up positive too. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna have a baby.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh shit.
I know.
Honey,
I was feeling
it
bloated
looks like the libs were right.
Right.
It is possible.
Right.
I'm giving birth to a 40.
Don't worry, it's just my breakfast burrito. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. You know. But yeah, that's. I feel like honestly, like the fact that it's a real thing or not, it's just how this country and how the world has chose to deal with it. Like if you ask me on a political level, like it's just a main like it's let's push out all the small businesses. Let's control the market. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you look at some of the big businesses that stayed open during the pandemic, like Walmart changed its hours and everything. It's probably never going to go back to its original hours because they found
Right.
if you add a little panic, people buy more shit.
Absolutely.
And stores were getting caught for that in the beginning of the pandemic. Is if we leave this shelf empty, people are going to buy all this shit over here because it's like a mental trigger for people.
It's a very good it's a good marketing scheme.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. If you lie on the supply part, the demand will grow higher. I can ask more money for the same product, and people are going to buy more of it because they're afraid it's not going to be there.
Oh yeah, just like even though there was no proof, no whatsoever saying that COVID gave you the shits, toilet paper sure the fuck out eating
right.
up.
I mean that's but then that goes hand in hand with me is that you're pushing this mass hysteria.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
And like I said,
like with all the masks and everything, they're like, oh, don't wear a mask, it's fine. The masks do nothing.
I did
wear
actually.
your mask.
I absolutely agreed with Derek when you guys were talking. That's like one of the things that like I was the meme. Like I was pointing at the fucking screen. Like that like. Could we? I think we should have just done less. You know what I mean? Like, were the masks helping? Were they not helping? Like, here's the thing:
do less, get more results.
If you go pre-COVID, you go like you were talking about one of your videos about being in the hospital for surgery. And it's not as bad as they're making it out to be.
Right.
But for my example here, if you go pre-COVID and you go to a hospital, they've always been taking care of sick people.
Oh yeah.
But if you're not directly doing patient care, or if you're not doing surgery, they weren't wearing masks.
No.
Your doctor wasn't wearing gloves to shake your hand. Like,
no.
This is all basic medical stuff that you're trying to, like, it never changes. You know what I'm saying? Like, years and years of all it's not, that's for me is like, you're making this, I don't want to bring up Seinfeld, but that's one magic loogie. You know what I mean? Like, so it can just sneak up on me when I'm by myself in the car if I'm not wearing my mask. It's gonna magically grab you know what I mean, like
yeah.
I just that's for me is what the main issue is.
Right.
That and like I was telling you earlier, I had COVID twice. I mean I tested positive for it the second time around. The first time I had it, I could not smell for almost the whole 10 days. That was the worst part of it for me. I've had worse colds. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, besides that part of it, like, I've had worse colds. Like, I used to get sick a lot as a kid, whatever. I always had, like, ear, nose, and throat problems and shit, like, whatever it is.
And they definitely said, and they pushed this, too, if
right,
you're a
right.
bigger guy,
well,
you're
right.
gonna die. Like,
yeah, I mean,
what
but
they were saying.
That's the other thing, which I guess, for me, makes it a little, like, I've had worse colds. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then the second time around, I had like a runny nose and like a cough. And then, neither time, for me or my wife, that we had COVID, none of us ever had a fever. At all. Never. And that's like the major, like, you gotta take your temperature. That's the sign. Like, if you have a toe, you got. how, like, you're telling me that I'm the lightning bolt. I'm the one out of the million that didn't get this.
Right.
I'm not that fucking lucky. I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? If something, you know what I'm saying? If it's gonna happen, like, I'm right down the middle. I'm the averagest person you'll ever meet in a lot of aspects. So it's just like, if it's gonna be a statistic, I'm not that one in the million that just magically didn't get affected by this. Like, that's my thought process. Like, you know.
See, I never went to the doctor to get diagnosed or anything, but I got so sick I was down for about a month and a half. I want to say in January, February of 20.
Oh,
right. Before the lockdowns, before everything happened.
It was right before that, because it was like
all that stuff. All of it, you know. So I got so sick that I couldn't move. Every inch of my body hurt, and I was barely able to breathe. I felt like I had pneumonia, but I switched it up. I started taking vitamins. I don't believe in pills. I don't believe in like shots or anything like that. I never have. You know, like I don't believe that they work as well as everybody says that they do. Don't get me wrong. I'm vaccinated, you know, to get into the whole school thing and everything. I'm not against vaccination.
Especially our generation, like it was more of like we didn't have a choice back then either.
Right.
Like, we really, like our parents, like nobody was like, they were like, you're getting this polio vaccination, you're getting the mumps vaccination.
Right.
Like this
and
was just a standard practice.
You know,
there wasn't like a
from birth to 7 years old.
Right,
and
but
just getting all
that
these
was
shots.
more of a standard practice. There were no. I don't want to say it this way to be funny, but there were no Karens. There were no.
No.
My kid's not going to do this. That wasn't really an option. That wasn't really like a thing.
Because
back then,
those diseases, virus, they were really killing people in mass.
Well,
so,
absolutely.
and I got it. I get it. But here's my issue. You took one vaccine, the polio vaccine, right? That's all you needed. Why the fuck do we have to take a vaccine for corona? You got to take one vaccine, wait a couple months, take another vaccine, wait a couple months, and get a booster, wait another couple months. Why the hell do we have to do all of this?
Right.
But yet they got it right with everything else, but they can't get it right with this.
Well, because again, I'm not a medical professional. Right. This is all theory based on just the common sense from dealing with certain things. It's just like, honestly, I feel like it's less of a vaccine and more of a flu shot type deal. Like that's in my head. I feel like that's how it's actually working in our bodies. Like the people that have been vaccinated, it's more like, you know what I mean? Like with a flu, or the reason you keep getting a flu, the reason you can't just be vaccinated once is because it does grow, it does change,
right?
It mutates. There is other variants of it, like, but that's the same thing why there's no cure for the common cold.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, because
all you can do is fight it.
It's
fight it as it comes.
Right, you deal with the symptoms or whatever.
Right.
I mean, and that's where like my common sense would say that's more of what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Does it make it, like, if you get it and have certain conditions, or if you get it and blah blah blah, does that make it any less dangerous than, let's say, pneumonia, or there's other respiratory illnesses that are infectious, that it's like MSRP or MS, I can't remember the name of it, but there's other respiratory infections and shit that are just as contagious that are out there that, you know, like, so yeah, I mean, basically there's 1,001 ways to die, and that's the, you know what I mean? Like, does that make it any different from that? Like, that's just one more environmental fact that can fucking kill you. Like, there's people that, but at the same time as coronavirus, there's people that beat all the other shit that we're talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you go back in anything. Like, I had my appendix removed, right? How many X years ago that would have just killed me? There was no operation. There was no. Oh, yeah. They were just like, ooh, your side hurts. Ooh, you're fucked. Thought. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. Like, as people, you're gonna live, you're gonna die. That's a natural part of life.
Right.
Like,
and I don't mean to stray off topic, but with this, but it almost feels like right now in society, in the world we live in, you've got your conservative types who seemingly hold a lot of the common sense and hold on to like everything that we were all taught and how we grew up, you know.
Right,
And
right.
we know this world is absolutely cruel. We know this world is not nice to us, and nothing in this world is just going to be given to us. But then on the other hand, you have the people who think that they can take this really imperfected world and make it perfect for themselves and everybody around them.
Right.
And, and then that's I feel like that goes kind of, it's like with the whole COVID thing, those two ideologies are clashing, especially when it comes to the whole COVID thing, because it's like, no, you have to do this and this and this and this, and everything will be okay and everything will be fine. And then you got this group of people saying, no, just take care of yourself, just do this, do that,
but
you're fine.
at the end game, like the last thing you could say about it, like the only thing that actually matters is what you just said. That's with all health in general.
Right.
Like, if you, it's a choice. It's how you deal with things. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to have high cholesterol. Like, I'm a big guy. Like, that's a scary thing that could happen. You know, I had high cholesterol. I cut out fried foods.
Oh yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
I literally have my doctor the last time I went had blood work done. I have perfect cholesterol.
Awesome.
Like no, the high is down, like the bad is down, the good is where it's supposed to be. Like, it's like, you know,
Blood flowing like a
well, right,
train
there's
in
no
a tunnel.
plaque, you know what I'm saying? Like, but with that being said, on the medical issue, heart disease is you know, like that's one of the number one killers, you know.
Right.
But we're not banning, and that goes back to what we're talking about. Like, we're not banning trans fat. We're not banning, you know, we're not picketing
Right.
fucking Popeyes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
I don't see people outside of McDonald's saying,
well,
"Hey, you're not actual real beef."
because they know it's a fucking choice. You
Right.
make these decisions, and as far as your health is concerned, it's always been a personal choice. You can't make you can't make a person live the lifestyle you want them to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Because and then again, it goes back to what we were saying about the 90-year-old and the 40-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
One lives a shitty life and one lives a healthy life. If you look at diet, I want to say, like, simplest example that comes to my mind when you look at diet. Look at animals. Like an elephant or a tiger or whatever. They have a lifespan, just like people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you think that the tiger goes down to 7-Eleven and eats burritos all fucking day? No, he eats meat. He drinks water. That's his diet. Does that magically change his lifespan?
No.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Is he eating pixie sticks all fucking day? Is the elephant, like,
Well, I'm sure
snorting crack or something?
I'm
You know
sure
what I'm
if he
saying?
had some Wendy's every now and then, he'd be having cancer all over him.
But yes, but that's what I mean. Like,
Right.
there's no magical pill either way.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line of it. Like, it's, you know.
There's a again, referencing the most bullshit media platform ever, TikTok. There's a little video on there where this vegan chick is like, "Oh, my dog is vegan and only eats greens,"
No,
and
it's
she
not.
put greens in front of the dog with another pile of meat. The dog
Right.
food. What did the dog do? Immediately went for the dog food.
He was happy as fuck.
Immediately,
Like, he was like,
and then
this
and
crazy
she was
bitch.
just like, "No, don't you."
Well, there's a lot
You
of cartoons that
cannot-
have took that joke.
Right,
You
you
know.
cannot, and again, with animals and people, you cannot force your ideas and opinions on
Right,
someone
but-
else and expect them
But also,
to
yeah,
be
that's-
okay and true.
I think that's the biggest running joke with vegan people. Like, the fact that, like, how do you know if somebody's vegan? They'll tell you.
Right.
Like, that seems to be their over the top topic, you know. But it's like, yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. You can't shun somebody for having different beliefs than you.
Right. It's like,
Like,
how dare you eat meat? Oh, how dare I do something humans were literally developed by God to do?
right.
For the
I mean,
last, how many years humans have been here? We've been
Right.
hunting?
and then also,
Did they forget we were hunters before we were farmers?
Right. I mean, that's true, right? But here's the other argument that I hear from vegan people that I refuse to get into a debate with a vegan person. Like honestly, like in recent years, like I've watched a lot of vegan cooking shows and stuff, and I've tried some recipes and stuff, and
some of them are really good.
It's really good stuff. They have a lot of alternatives now that they didn't have back in the day.
Oh yeah,
and it's a legitimate option, and there is some healthy benefits to it. I can't take away from any of that. But the one thing a vegan person will say that actually makes me like, you're stupid and you don't like, to me,
right?
Mind you, this is completely my opinion. Is it's plant based. It's a renewable source. So cows and chickens aren't born every day. That's not that's not renewable. That's not a.
And here's the thing,
like
animals renew themselves by themselves.
Right, and also
our farms, they don't plant themselves.
No, it doesn't. And then too, like there are a lot of crops and stuff like that. Like it takes resources. It takes more resources and money to grow the crops versus
Absolutely.
So I mean, just on a economical fucking sense, like there's a lot of stuff that traditional, American diet or traditional meat and makes more sense for the economy. Like even like if you don't want to go down that road, but yeah,
right.
It's not just as black and white as that. Like like
no.
I mean, I'm not going out and butchering rabbits in my garden. You know what I'm saying? Like. Fucking fuck the Easter Bunny. He's delicious. I'm not saying this, but
and it man, and I already know I'm probably gonna get shit because of my political views, and it happens, and I don't mind. You want to debate? Let's talk. I'm actually working on a new segment. I mean, obviously, I have the Sticks and Stones, which is. What this is Sticks and Stones. What say you? This is just the conversation. And then when I do the videos by myself, they're more politically driven. They're more like news based driven, and then that's the. I guess that's like a more of a personal choice to do that because like I feel like it needs to be done. And I want to
understand that too.
I want to move into a segment where it's what was it called? I just had it in my head. Sorry, I get brain farts a lot. But basically, it's like you agree to disagree.
Right,
it's like a political like you. That's what it was. Me and my buddy Eric, we came up with the idea of a segment called "That's Debatable." We take certain topics and we talk about it, and then we debate. But the rules are, if you're on the left, you have to debate for the right. If you're on the right, you have to debate for the left. So that way you fully understand exactly what each point is coming at.
Right.
And then you come to the table.
Right.
You come to the table and you have an actual discussion on level playing grounds. And the rules are no character assassination whatsoever, because that seems to be like a kind of like a strategy a lot for the left. If once they get to a point where they're yelling and screaming isn't doing much, they go, oh well, you're a bigot, well you're this, you're that, you're this, and you looked at this, oh you can't spell, or oh you didn't put a period there, I'm a grammar Nazi, and you see it all the damn time. You misspell a word, you accidentally put your and not you are. Whoa. They will light you up and focus on that one word just so they can feel right.
Of my life, my grammar and spelling abilities have impeded my educational level, at least on paper, if that makes sense. Like
at first when I got hit with this. Because I would come up with my opinion, I would leave it on Facebook or whatever, and then they would have no argument except for, oh, we can't listen to you, you moron! You can't even spell this word right. Like, wait, what? But did you read it?
Like, but did you get the point? Did you?
I got the point, but you clearly don't know punctuation. All right, first of all, thank you for reading it. You clearly got the point, and you clearly proved my point. Thank you.
I understand that. Right? Like,
You know, and it's like, you could attack me on my grammar all you want, but the message in that statement is still being
Right.
sent.
all right.
Just because there's not a period or a question mark, or I'm using, you know, your and not you are, or there and not over there, you know, like,
one of my
it is what it is. You get
biggest-
what I'm saying.
One of my biggest grammar mistakes is like everything I would write would be like one giant run-on sentence. Like,
Yeah,
would
I don't use punctuation.
Like,
It's
but
just
I feel like I write how my brain talks. If that makes sense.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
Like
That's exactly how I do
especially
it.
if I'm actually like strong opinion about something that I'm putting down. Like it flows
I ain't got time
out
to
that
hit
way.
space bar and period. Listen, this is what's coming on.
Right. Like I would say some of the stuff I wrote, I've had to go back and be like, I should probably add some punctuation. You know, like,
Well, that doesn't look good.
ooh. Like,
You know, and that, I think that needs to be stopped. You know, I'm not saying to stop speech or stop somebody else from having a different opinion. No, stop insulting people while you talk.
well, it's more
Because if you want to
can-
have if you want to have a discussion about something, have that discussion. Absolutely, have that discussion. But when you're losing, or when you feel like your point is being overtaken by another point,
Right,
don't
right.
attack the person on their character, because that automatically shows defeat.
Well, that's a very weak-minded play. Is basically
is,
what
it is, it
Like
is.
if you don't have the information to back up the bullshit you're talking, you drop to that level of it. Like
Right? Oh
so-
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you have a beard.
Well, like, yeah.
Well, I've never.
Yeah, no, I understand. I completely, I get exactly what you're saying. Like, I just,
You know, and it's that was a deterrent for me to not do this. But then I said, you know what? I'm not going to stop. I don't care if you hate me. You can block me. You can trash me on the comments. I don't care. Guess what? You're still commenting, so it helps me regardless. It doesn't matter. Good publicity, bad publicity, it's still publicity.
well, I say any publicity is good publicity.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
you know, you want to attack me on my grammar? Fine, that's fine. You're just going to show everybody who you are.
Well, right. But I mean, that goes. I agree with something else you're saying too about it's not gonna stop you. You shouldn't let things like, and I think that's I think for our age group, it is like more something that you start to learn. Is that you do have to pursue what makes you happy. You do have to find joy in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's.
Sorry.
No, it's
you
alright.
kind of got out of the shot. I'm trying
I
to move the
leaned
table.
back away from it. Like, I got comfortable.
For those who don't know, I have the cheapest little webcam on top of my big screen TV here, and it's the only way that I can do it. Oh yeah, and like I was saying about my microphone, it really is just a lamp with duct
Okay,
tape
like, what was
to a
it,
screwdriver, but it works wonderfully. Let me tell you.
Was it Microsoft started in the garage? You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. Like, you know,
Everything started as a MacGyver process
Right,
put
right,
together
and
from
nothing's
chewing
ever-
gum, a piece of lint, and a rubber band.
That's another example of that.
Boom! You have a nuclear warhead.
Nothing is ever done in total. You don't like. Unfortunately for humans, you don't come out and walk across the room and make yourself a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Shit it doesn't work that way. Like, you know, and I say for me, this is a big thing for me is admitting this in this part of my life, is that those are the only actual regrets I have. Is that I, always taking in information and not using it, or not pursuing things that, like, if I had a dream or an ambition, putting it on a side. You know what I'm saying? And that's...
That is exactly what me and Kevin talked about yesterday. Was I said, don't, like, I'm doing this with baby steps. I don't need to take big steps, because if I take big steps, I might miss something. I don't want to lose experience on anything. I don't want to accidentally lose out on a little bit of experience, because I'll never get that back. I'll never get that opportunity to get that certain experience back. That's why I have to baby step this.
Oh,
Absolutely. And if it seems like I'm crawling, yeah.
But again, that's fine.
As
Like,
long as you're
like,
moving
right.
forward. You know, you absorb
Absolutely.
every little bit of information you can, and you use it to
Right.
literally pave that road in front of you, because that road
Absolutely.
is your road.
Like,
You are paving that road.
I'm a huge believer in that. You know, and it's so funny because we were talking about Derek, we were talking about the video he did and stuff like that. But it's like I really do wish that I listened more back then, if anything made sense.
Yeah,
Like it's not that I didn't catch the stuff. Like even like you guys were talking, like you're like a year. Were you like a year ahead of me?
Yeah, we were a year old.
Well, right. So, but it's like there was a lot of information, a lot of good stuff that was said, and it's like I obtained it. It's in my head, but there's a lot of stuff I look back on, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I really wish that I would have applied that more to my life. And
Right, yeah.
the whole point of me saying that is like, Derek was like a really big like positive thinking, like you manifest what you know what I'm saying, like,
yeah.
and I've just like recently in my life I've really seemed to be benefiting from that, like if anything, and some stuff is just small, like it's not like a huge thing,
Right.
like like for example, and it's kind of silly, it's kind of out there, but like my pool game, like per example, my pool game is like I would say from the last time I played, like it's 50% improvement from where I used to be, right? You know, I've hit the 8-ball in on the break a few times. Like that was like the most exciting thing in my life at that moment. Like when I first did that, I if I could have done a backflip, I would have. Like that's how happy I was about it. But
I would really love to see that.
Beverly Hill Ninja shit. Like I mean, just look. But
wow.
Bringing you to the point, the silly part of it is, this is gonna be hilarious. When I play pool, like I've been playing with my grandfather-in-law, so my wife's grandfather, and he's an old pool shark, and he basically clear the table like without even, you know what I mean? He lets me play with him is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll try to do a harder shot and like give you time, but if he doesn't want to, he can just, you know, like
just mop
like
the
at
floor
any
with
point
it.
of the game he can be like, this is getting old, and like and knock it in.
It's about that time, son.
I picked up a lot from him, but the going back to like the positive mindset thing, and this is the silly part. In my head, Carl Spackle from Bill Murray character from Caddyshack, when I'm shooting pool. Whole 9 times, like whole thing in my head, I'm orientating myself just like that scene. Oh, he's at the tournament, you know what I mean. He's about to make this shot, and he's right in the hole. You know what I'm saying? And he's going for the next shot. He has it lined up. You know what I mean? This is an incredible game for him. You know, and that's the persona, the character, while I'm shooting pool, that I'm sticking to, and like I'm telling you, for some reason, you know, it's a small thing. It's a positive outlook for me instead of having a negative attitude, like, you know, or just being blank, like, while I'm doing it, like, I missed a shot, fuck, that sucks, like, I'm telling you, like, a 50%, like, better, you know what I mean, like, retention of information, like, just learning stuff from him, and you know, just having the positive attitude, like, it's just something different. You know, like,
and you know, and having that positive attitude really does make a difference.
It's like a weird thing, but yeah.
If you go in feeling you're going to get beat, guess what's going to happen?
Oh, right.
You've already paced yourself for that, which means you're not going to give it your all because you're restricting yourself.
You're saying if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. Like right, but that's something that like I always like. When Derek did talk about that, like, it was always something in the back of my head, like, yeah, whatever. You know, I mean, that was my attitude back then for a lot of stuff.
Well, you know what? To be fair, nobody took us seriously.
Well, but you know, it's like, oh yeah, that sounds good, but like I said, in the back of my head, it was like, yeah, I don't fucking give a shit, you know. and that's what I mean. I look back, I was like, man, like, you know, like.
And that's crazy too, because it's not like we were getting the experience from adults passed on to us. We were kids learning as we went, learning off of each other.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
You know?
Right.
Like Derek said, I had said that when I got to high school, I was such a loser. I was nothing. day one, I met Derek, and I felt that he was a goofy kid, so I kind of just copied him, and then we kind of went off each other. But then he turned around and said, he's like, "No, dude, I was copying you. I was following your lead." So and like we were following each other's lead, not even realizing that we were doing it.
That's such a funny thing. Like, and I'll tell you that I really did when I was watching a video. That was one thing that I wanted to bring up for sure. It's just the two of your dynamic together, because
we really were.
Like I said, was like freshman year. You guys were like sophomores or something or whatever at the time, and it's such a weird dynamic for me, because like I don't say it's the first time I ever actually kind of done this, but like I kind of agree. Like I was kind of like a blank slate, like going into high school, like for my own personality's sake or whatever. But there was something about the two of you that I was just like back then. I know we've talked about it in like way in the past, but I was just like, I'm gonna hang out with them too. Like
and it felt,
Derek lived in my building,
like
but I just like
under the wing kind of
like
thing.
I was drawn to you guys, and like I really did like almost like I feel like at a certain point I just like fought my way like I'm not gonna take no for an answer. Like I'm gonna come hang out with you guys. Like
and you
right,
you came into the scene like a wrecking ball, man. Like you came in funny, and it just we were. And I'm not gonna lie, when I met you, because I know Derek met you a lot sooner than I did.
He lived in the same building. Right,
you know,
right.
And I only really started hanging out with you really when I wound up living with him.
Right.
You know, so we were all in that area. But when it came to like the improv and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure we went to your school and did a show.
Yeah, I was in 8th grade, and that's the first time I ever seen the two of you do an improv show. And it's really funny, we were talking about my mother briefly earlier. That's something I came home in 8th grade. This is a true story. I seen that improv show when I was in 8th grade.
Right.
I came home and I told my mom I'm gonna join improv when I go to high school. Like
I love it.
And my mom was like,
absolutely. And that was our goal, is to get as many people
and
to follow us to do something like that, because it is so much fun.
In my mother's true fashion, she just said okay, because she never was a strong like I'm gonna push you either direction.
Right.
No, not saying nothing bad, but that's you know, and sure enough, like that was the one thing, like I was goal oriented, like I'm gonna get into it. I don't care, like I liked it that much, like I was like, this has to be something I'm gonna do, like you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome to know. That's so cool. That I unintentionally had an influence on somebody's.
Oh no, for sure, like for sure, the two of you, like
I just didn't. And obviously you don't think of stuff like that when you're that young. You know, you're just thinking about let's get the laughs, let's get it out there, man. We work good together, let's do it.
We were talking about comedy.
Oh, that sombrero bit. Oh my god, I thought I was gonna get strung up by every fucking Hispanic person. Luckily, I'm Hispanic myself, so I got away with it. But that sombrero bit was so bad.
I get you know, the funny you talk about it like a Hispanic anything. I get people always say or like will swear I'm Hispanic. I really
until I met your family, I thought you were Mexican.
Well, yeah, and it's like I either get like if I go to a place with Spanish speaking people, I always at least one time somebody will just talk to me in Spanish and then have the most confused ass look on their face. When I'm just like, I'm sorry, and there's just
you know, and I also get that because they look at me and immediately just like, and I'm like, yeah, don't let my last name fool you. I have no idea what you're saying.
Like, first off, my name is Guy. Right? Now, you know what I mean? Like,
I want to speak on that real quick. Is it Guy as in Guy or is it Gaius?
No, it's just Guy.
Just Guy?
Yeah,
because I know you're Italian as fuck. So usually
you didn't know I was named after my father.
Yes, yeah, I knew that.
Just some guy.
Just
sure, like you know.
Just some guy. Yeah.
No, it really was his name first, but I had a great uncle that died in World War I. That his name was Gaetano. Gaetano, or like loosely called, like people call him, they say Guido.
Right.
In Italian, that's basically like an Italian guy, Guido, a dude. You know what I'm saying? Awesome. Like, yeah, like that's actually the history of the name. Like, but yeah. So,
Well, I mean, it's good to keep it going. Like, you know, like my son is a junior, you know, and I hope one day his son will be a junior.
Well, for most of my life, I had that like thought process, like almost like Boy Named Sue. Like when you come up with a name like Guy, especially in grade school, like it's the topic of you know it's shock and awe basically. And then you get older and you get more comfortable with it, and you start to you come into your own with it, and yeah, like I enjoy it. Like I enjoy the occasional conversation about it, you know.
It's got to be good that, you know, like no matter what, if they know you or if they don't, they always get your name right. Hey, that guy over there.
Oh,
yes.
Oh my God. you have to hear this one. This is my favorite name story ever. I was working. I knew you at the time. I'm pretty sure, like, because I was still living in that area. I was working at a little tiny nursing home in 79th and Central. It's in Burbank.
Yeah, I remember that.
Exceptional Healthcare is what it's called. It's hilarious that now the company I work for owns that company too.
Oh, no shit.
If they would have known that, I would have never got hired. Like, I quit the same job twice.
Ain't that a bitch?
In a shitty way too, both times.
Oh man.
So if they were related when I got hired here, it wouldn't have been. Like, you know. But there was this guy. His name was Dennis. He was a respiratory therapist. He was a really, really cool guy. Like. He had like a couple DUIs or something, and he couldn't drive. But like he was a really, really cool guy, real laid back. Like he recently passed away of a heart attack. You know, well, this is a few years back. But whole year that I worked there, Dennis called me Guy every day. No exaggeration. Over a year. Oh, and Dad came in. Hey, Dennis, how you doing? I'm telling him, I'm talking to him about something that happened, and he goes, you know what, man? What's your name? And like I had a whole moment of, he called me Guy. He was like, yeah, I just said, hey, Guy, hey, you know, Guy, you know, and I, holy shit, for this whole year, this guy had no idea what my name was. He didn't know my name was actually Guy, and then
that's the best part.
And then it gets even better. He proceeds to tell me the same exact story. He was like, oh, you would never believe this. I was working at the nursing home down the street, and I did the same thing to somebody else. That's my dad.
No shit.
He did the same thing to my dad that he did to me years later. It was the same people. It's like, holy shit, your dad's named Guy at this nursing home? I'm like, yeah. Like, my dad was a transporter at the nursing home that he was working at. And like, right, so it was just like the continuation
cool.
of this.
That's
like,
cool.
yeah,
It's a lineage.
I'll never forget that. It was the funniest shit ever.
Just pull out your ID. It's Guy.
Oh,
you were right.
There's another thing with that name too. There's more times I've actually pulled my ID out because I always get that they don't believe me. That's not really your name.
Oh, I didn't believe it at first.
But that's not your name. Why would it? Why, you know? Yeah, my sister's name is Girl. Like, what do you fucking want? You know, like, I don't know. Like,
because how you were introduced to me is like, oh yeah, that guy.
But that's a lot
and
of people.
And I was like, hey, guy, what up, guy? You know, like, but
it
it turns out that he was like, you know, that's his name, right? And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
I'm the character. I'm basically the character from The Big Lebowski. You know, the dude. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm the dude.
Right. That rug really tied the room together. You know, like, I mean, but yeah, like, just fun shit at a certain point. Like, just, you know.
It could be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, that's, you know what? That's perfect. That's the perfect way, you know.
You don't know if somebody's trying to get your attention or trying to, like, shoo you away. Hey, Guy!
Well, right. Or it's the fact that it's more than one part of speech, and sometimes it sounds like it could, you know what I mean? Like, I am one of the people that I constantly think somebody, you know, what? Well, nobody's talking. Oh, okay. You know, like,
so how long have you been, like, are you still in, like, in the medical field? Are you still doing
absolutely, yeah.
Why did I think you worked at Walmart?
I worked at Walmart for a year.
I think that's why I thought you worked at Walmart.
We actually ran into each other at the Walmart. I worked at the Walmart in Crestwood. Like I actually, it's a semi-down story, but when I was working as a CNA, I had a patient that I was very, very close to. She fell. She got a really bad hematoma, and she died. Oh, and one of the other CNAs like blamed it on me. Oh. And it was not the case. Like, that's not what happened. You know, right. Like her husband actually came to visit me after that. Like we've talked or whatever. Like I mean, some of it was just her part to go. Like she was 80 something. Like she was the coolest old lady. Like it doesn't matter now. Like her name was like Faye King.
Mm-hmm.
The coolest old lady.
What was it?
Faye King.
No way.
Yeah, she was missing like 3 fingers, like one finger or 2 fingers on each hand. She had an eye patch.
And her name was Faking.
Faye, like Faye.
Right.
King.
That is so
Right.
messed up.
Right.
I mean, it's.
Right.
I mean, it
but,
is.
but yeah, and
oh, you're faking. Yes. No. But yes.
Right. But she blew herself up with fireworks when she was a kid. That's why she was missing the fingers and had the eye patch.
Damn.
But she's a tough old, like, funny old lady. I spent a lot of time just talking to her and shit. And that happened. And I took a whole year off and worked at Walmart because I just didn't want to deal with patients. I didn't want to deal with people in that manner anymore.
I
like,
believe it.
right,
And you work specifically with
in-stage dementia patients at the time, or like when I was working with her, it was a lot of rehab. It was a lot of people that were there for rehab, people there, some long-term, but it was mostly rehab at that place.
See, you must have an iron, fucking iron skin.
It's a callus. It's a callus. It grows. Like it's a callus.
I don't know if I could. Like, cause you know they're gonna die.
Well, I mean,
The majority of them, you know, and that's why they're there.
People come there for that purpose specifically. Actually,
you know, and
like,
it's scary. Like how do you
you
how do you develop see that's what you develop these relationships with these people.
Oh yeah.
And then they're gone the next day.
I had
like, how do you
there's so many stories. There's so many like
we got time.
You know I will tell you the first time I dealt with a dying person up close in person, like I wasn't CNA. I was a housekeeper. I worked in the morning at the place in Burbank. I came in the morning, and I'll never forget it because it was the first person I've ever actually witnessed die, if that makes sense.
Right.
This patient kept climbing out of bed in the middle of the night and was laying on a mat on the floor. Like he kept getting out of bed. It wasn't the staff. They weren't neglecting him or anything. It was just this is what this patient was doing, you know. And the nurse called and asked me to help put him back in the bed. So you know, I didn't think any of it at the time. Like okay, sure. Like you know, when I picked the guy up in my arms, he took his last breath and his eyes rolled back and he died.
Oh my god.
Like and I was 18. I was 18. You know like.
That
Like you know what I mean? I mean the thing was I didn't know this patient priorly at that point, or like have any connection to him. But his face is in my head. Like you know what I mean? I mean, it's honestly, if you work in healthcare and it doesn't bother you anymore, if you don't remember shit like that, you probably shouldn't be in healthcare anymore. Like, but at the same time, you will grow a callus to it. Like you know, I think it's self prevalence, self. You know what I mean? Like, you like I would say it's a joke about healthcare workers all have a dark sense of humor, but that's literally what it is. Like you gotta laugh to keep them crying. Like you know.
And with that dementia stuff, man, it's really.
Oh, that's a horrible.
It's terrible. What's the name of? I keep like butchering this chick's name.
Right, I was just gonna say, like, I know what show she was in.
I know
like,
she was in The Big Bang Theory. I just can't remember. Like,
I seen her
I know
on TV.
her name on my head.
It's funny you say that because I just seen her on TV, but I didn't. I was at work. I looked at the TV for a second and then just kept going. Like you know.
What's her name? Like, why can't I find her? Like, I was just reading an article about how somebody was trying to sue her because she tried to promote the CBD that she invented, basically, called Human, HUUMAN.
Feel human again with hemp. Like it's like
it's a CBD oil or gummies, and it's like the main thing was the dementia. You know, it helps you. It helped. Where is it? Here we go.
I mean, that's the thing with dementia right now. Is any medications they have right now are just like it's like a stopgap, like a band-aid, like a, you know, a
Right,
postponement of some of the symptoms.
you know,
It's not actually
and that's what's wonderful about this. It's like it's a plant. It's a plant, and it's proven to help, proven to work.
well, and that's the thing. I mean, overall, like hemp in general, like marijuana in general, it does have like 1,000 medical applications.
Oh yeah.
That like it's been. Yeah, and honestly, it was. I feel like it was criminalized for that reason at some point.
Well, I mean, it was hard to patent a plant. You know, and that was like one of the main things that was being grown in this country when this country was a baby. You had your tobacco, and you had your hemp. They used hemp for everything: paper, rope, oil, everything. They just didn't realize that if you smoked it, you'd get high. But I don't think that it was like the exact same thing as, you know, the weed that we see here.
Oh God, yeah. It's
I don't,
like, yeah,
right? You know, obviously, it's not like the fucking the Kush that we have, or like the
scary levels of shit at this point.
Go to your dispensary, you walk in and you're high. You know,
right. I mean, that's a whole new world. Like, you know, when you talk about marijuana, it's actually saying something about this earlier too. About like if I smoked weed or whatever, you know, there was a point like right after high school, like I wasn't really hanging out with you guys too much. I was hanging out with a few, like this one guy I knew named Matt Sorgan.
I remember Sorgan.
That he passed away.
Yeah,
he had an overdose in Denver. Like apparently,
shit.
like I think he was like shooting heroin or something like that. I didn't even know.
See,
like,
I know
knew
he had
was,
died, but I didn't know why or what the cause was.
Yeah,
that's insane. I didn't know that.
I got a phone call one day, like, you know, like I was living in like Griffith, Indiana at the time. Like I was actually on like a date with some girl when I got a phone call. Like, you know, that's like that sucked. Like that was a terrible thing. You hate to see something like that happen.
You do. You hate to see it.
But when I was hanging out with him, I smoked a lot of fucking pot.
Oh, I believe that. I mean, we all did with him. His
Well,
apartment was so easily just first floor. We went in, we started smoking. You know, his parents were not even.
Well,
they didn't give a
mother,
fuck.
yeah.
Oh yeah, his mom.
Right. You know,
good times.
Well, right, drank and smoked a lot of pot. Like we did.
See,
we did coke a few times.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, a lot of crazy shit.
Back then, that's when we were doing like the backyard wrestling.
Oh, right.
Fucking just beating each other's asses just for fun.
Parents wanted to kill me back then.
Yeah, because you did it in your house.
In the
you were just destroying shit.
Well, I lived in. That's the thing we didn't talk about. Is I lived in the identical apartment to Derek's.
Right,
like
the kitty corner
down
identical.
The hall,
yeah,
it was the same upstairs, downstairs, spiral staircase,
mirrored.
Yes, yeah. Window for the bedroom and the bed. Yeah, like first off, I love that apartment. Like I wish that's probably like a $2,000 a month apartment now. Like, honestly, like
back then, what, 900?
Yeah,
now,
it was like it was not. Yeah.
Nowadays, that'd be about two.
Oh yeah, unless that
2.5.
old Greek lady's still alive. God bless her heart. Like she hated me. She thought I was evil. Like she accused me of like setting the bushes on fire in front of her house. Like I wasn't even in town that day, which was good for my part. Like I was lucky that I wasn't in town because she literally said she seen me set the bushes on fire. I was like,
yeah. See, what happened was, when we accidentally, we might have shifted the blame a little bit.
Oh, and that's fine. Like I said, I had an alibi. Like I got out. Like I'm fine with it.
Like
I didn't go down for it.
I feel so bad. Like
well,
even though you hung out with us, you were always the one that got caught in the worst situations, like the Dunkin' Donuts incident.
God.
That was so funny. And it wasn't even
Can
you.
I have another sample? Get out! Like, oh shit!
Get out!
You're
And then we
on
started
ketchup
like
packets
fucking
and shit,
the
which I didn't
ketchup
even know you
war.
were doing
Oh my
that,
god!
like-
This guy straight up locked the door. You clean? I call the cops. Oh shit! Oh god! And then you were in there like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Help me!
Right. Like,
God, and it's like, I felt like I did feel bad because I was the one that said, "Fuck it, I'm going back in," and I went in there and I was like, "Oh," but I totally took that out of control, and I made this guy feel like a piece of shit.
You were being a dick to that guy. Like, I remember that.
I like he was like. Look what he did. Look at him. I was like, oh, he did? No, no, he didn't.
Fucking patronizing shit
What's
out of
wrong? Is that okay? But needless to say, we were never allowed in that Dunkin' Donuts again.
I add that to my list of blackballed places.
Oh man, oh god, good times, man. We were so stupid. As an adult looking back on that, I would have kicked my own ass.
Whoa, yeah, there's a lot of dumb shit I did. But needless to say, you're talking about marijuana. Like, jump back into this. Like,
Right.
I smoked a lot of pot, like, post-high school. You know, it's the craziest things. Like, I actually, like, this is a serious thing. I ended up being in the hospital for, like, some months. This is the what the doctors told me, like the theory behind it. There's no actual, like, there's no diagnosis. There's no actual solid, like, whatever. My brain chemistry changed, and it, like, marijuana, not for me. Like, I honestly, I woke up in the hospital, and didn't know how I got there.
That's
like,
scary.
And apparently, I was walking around like fucking zombie, drooling on my fucking self. I didn't know in from out, like, my own ass from my, hole in the ground. Like, it's
Sounds
basically
like you
what.
smoked a primo.
Well, right, and they tested and stuff. Like, maybe something was laced, something was, you know what I'm saying?
Sounds
like, and
I've never heard, like, in any case, marijuana
right,
doing that
right,
to somebody.
right. Fast forward, like, years and years later, I was going through, like, the wife I'm with now, like, complete sweetheart, totally night and day difference. Like, she's my person per se. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a wonderful
she
success
was,
story right there.
But she went through a miscarriage, and I was just in a very, very bad mental place. Like, I started drinking again, like, my old drinking, like, not like, a beer here and there drinking, like, I was drinking,
No,
and
all day.
I decided I was to smoke some weed with somebody at work, and sure enough, I ended up back in the hospital again. This time, luckily, I was in Good Samaritan for like a week, but for the first few days of the week, that's exactly how it was. No idea.
Do you ever consider maybe you were allergic?
There's so many possibilities. Like I said, I talked to doctors about it. Like, I had to go see like, part of getting out of the hospital. Like, I had to go see, like, a therapist and shit. Like,
Right.
They initially, like, shot me up with so many fucking drugs because of how I was behaving when I was in the hospital. Like, before, when I was coming in, like,
right.
completely out of it, completely, like, irrational apparently. Like, so they gave, like, Ativan and what's the other, like, the big antipsychotic. They gave me, like, a shot of it that lasts, like, 30 days. I didn't have, like, even when I came to, because of that drug, I had no motor function. Like, I couldn't move my hands independently of each other. It was, like, a very weird, like, a very weird cloud type thing. I had to go see a therapist and get, like, stepped down off of that medication and stuff. Like, so, I mean, it's like, for me, I know, like, that that's not a drug that I even want to play around with. Like, could it have been the strand? Could it have been, it could be 100 different things, but for me, it's like, testing that theory out is just not worth the fucking chance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't want to relive that. I don't want to. And then, too, with any type of mental stuff like that, I'm lucky that I snapped out of it.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could be one of the patients that are at my work right now.
You could be that vegetable.
Well, yeah. You walk down the hallway with my
about,
pants
man.
around my ankles, like.
Well, I mean, you don't need to be fucked up to do that. I mean, I don't know how many times you got caught with your pants.
Like.
Oh man, I mean, Lord knows we can't tickle you. Just
It's a little gassy. What do you want from me?
Oh, that was so funny.
That had I was like one like with Derek, like it was like he had a girl over there. We're like joking around, like
Randy.
No, this was like this little Polish girl he was going out with for like it was very brief. Like
Sherry?
No, it wasn't Sherry. I can't remember her name. Like, she was like blonde, very pale white. Like, like, it was very brief. I remember that.
Right,
but
right.
he like pulled my hair or something. Like, we were like play fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
fucking around. I farted like hard.
Oh, man.
Like it was the most embarrassing moment of my fucking life. Like, I was like,
Was that the one I was there for? Because I remember I was sitting on a couch and they were messing with you and they were tickling you. You're like, no,
it might have been.
And then
it might have been what I'm remembering.
right in her
too.
face.
Right. Yeah. Don't live shit like that down. Like, I'm sure she ran. If she ran
is
into
in
me
a room right now, traumatized.
Right.
She's gonna listen to this podcast and reinstitute every fear she has of men's asses.
If I ran into her into a grocery store, she would probably like, oh fuck. Like,
No. No, no, no. No, 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 no.
sorry.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it.
It's an accident, I swear. Oh yeah.
I remember her now. Yeah, we used to play poker. We had those card games.
Right. But I mean, like I said, it was a very brief.
Yeah,
like,
That was good times.
Yeah.
That was towards the end of that apartment reign, basically, when
right.
everybody
like,
kind of moved out.
I moved out before Derek did. And
Yeah.
I know he moved out like not too long after that.
Oh, a couple months maybe.
Right. Like that did a lot of moving. I think after that, like, my life wasn't very stable as far as like where, you know what I mean? It was like here, there, here, you know.
Well, that's how we all that's how we all were. Like, we weren't necessarily the most wealthy people, you know. We were in the bottom of the ladder.
God,
We strained together what the fuck we did. We lived off of peanut butter, jelly, ramen noodle.
Oh, right.
Like, I mean, I don't know how many times I remember, like, and it was no secret, and I am not embarrassed of it. I was homeless as fuck. I had nowhere to go, and if it wasn't for the sandwiches you fucking let me make, man,
a few times,
I would have been in so much worse of a place if it wasn't for the kindness of my friends.
It was the only thing I would say. The only negative take back from that time frame is that we were still kids living at home. Like, it was you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I would say we wish. I guarantee, like, probably Derek feels the same way. Like, you know, if it was up to us, if it was our main decision, like, yeah, fucking, you know, could have done more. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
and you know, and that was the beginning of my downward spiral. You know, I mean,
I can understand that.
It ain't no
That's
secret. I got bad with everything, drugs, everything. You know, I alcohol. You saw how I drank. I was a fucking mess. You know, every time we hung out, and I guess that's what kind of like attracted me to you so much, because you were as equally as a mess as I was. Except you had a car.
right.
I'd come over and I'd be like, hey, bud. And you'd be like, let's go get a drink. And then we'd go by the place where you work, this little liquor store, and we'd get bottles of Rumpelmans and just get messed up that whole night watching Rocky or Ghostbusters or, you know, old school movies. And like, and those are always the moments I remember. Like, specifically, I remember a moment where we had gotten really drunk off of Rumpelmans, and that shit tastes so good if you chill it to the right temperature, and you drink it with a chilled glass. The shots are amazing. I love drinking ice cold Rumpelman. Well, I don't drink anymore. It's been 10 years, but that was like, because of you, I stopped drinking everything else except for, because it was more of a, this is a treat. Well, because it's like candy, you know, and you just drink it so fast.
Drugs, alcohol, like I've had my battles with certain things, and you know, I don't. The next thing I'm gonna say is I don't actually mean this. Like God bless Chantel if she hears this. I don't mean it that way, but like I just thought it was funny when I had the thought. You know, my first wife cured me of drinking. When Chantel got me off of smoking, like by my third wife, like I'm gonna be a perfect person. Like,
hey, that's looking up on things, man.
The positives, like, you know.
It's a slow build, but it's a build towards the best.
A couple of good women away from running shit, you know. Like, I'm fucking telling you.
You know, and honestly, the root cause of all of that, I mean, it wasn't because I was homeless, because that was a stupid choice I made. That wasn't because of somebody else's fault, or that was my own fault. I decided it was easier. But I was also suffering from really bad depression, really bad anxiety, really bad. I was always just not beating myself up. I was destroying myself.
Right,
You know,
right,
and
right. Like,
I had no outlet whatsoever. You know, and that's another problem we have nowadays is nobody considers the mental health of a man.
oh God, no.
Everybody
That's-
just
that's,
like, man, suck it up. Just quit being such a pussy.
Well, you're fine, right?
Yeah, or
don't
you're
be,
fine. Just
right?
breathe. Don't worry about it. Relax. And I look.
Oh, absolutely.
I have terrible anxiety attacks to the point where I am almost having a seizure, and it feels like it almost feels like a goddamn heart attack. And anything triggers it. And it does not have to be something that's traumatic. You know, I could just be like, oh God, I have to do this, but then I have to go over here and do this, and then I got to work it. Oh my God, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, I find myself sitting there shaking, just trying to calm myself down.
Absolutely. It's a dangerous thing. Like,
and that's why I like the CBD so much, because it does help. And I'm going to look into the human CBD and try that out and try to get the benefits of that, because that seems like it's doing really good too. And like, but with depression, you're drowning. Even like, you don't. There's so much pressure. It almost feels like there's like a person standing on your chest, holding you to the ground, and you just can't get out of it. You know, until you get over it, in a sense. You know, you gotta fight it in your head, because your head is thinking the worst of the worst of the worst, but then you're perceiving that to be what's actually happening and what actually will happen. And I've come to the point where if you can defeat it in your head, you use that victory to actually help you what's going on in reality, because then you're able to cope with what surrounds you better. You know, if you can manage to calm yourself in your head about the fears that you have, then it's a hell of a lot easier to deal with the problems you actually have, because you already know the situation in your head. And me, I'm the type of person that thinks of every possible outcome of a battle. You know, I've looked at life as a war zone, a battlefield, my entire life, and I was losing bad in the beginning. But now, there's absolutely no offensive coming from the other end anymore, because I figured out how to stop it. If I keep it in my head. Now, sure, I still have anxiety attacks, and I still have problems with like depression and bipolar and stuff. One second I'll be happy, the next second I want to rip somebody's head off.
Well, to interject on it just a little bit. I also think the problem with depression, or the men getting treated for depression, is depression is one of those conditions that you basically can't be on the outside looking in. Like, you're never going to understand it.
Exactly.
It's one of those things, like, you can't calculate it. You can't. There's no, like, if you don't have that mindset, if you don't have that problem, then you're just not going to have an understanding of that condition.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
So, like, and that's where the just put the briefcase down fucking mentality comes from. Is like honestly, for me, is like, yes, I may have a tension of overthinking, and maybe I get some anxiety for that, but I will sit here and tell you that I'm not a depressed person in general. Like, right. So that's a separate, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, someone like me, I can understand it, or I can try to, like,
right.
I don't know, be sympathetic for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's a real thing, you know, but I think that's a big problem with it, is that you can't see through that person's eyes. You can't know right. how it's affecting that person. It's not a simple box.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of conditions or disorders, if you can put it in this bar, we know it fits here. If we do this and this, that'll make this better. And with depression, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? There's different...
Every situation is 150% different than the next.
Right.
You know, my depression could be stemming from something of the past. Somebody else's depression could be stemming from something that just happened to them. You know, somebody could have depression because they're overthinking of what might happen or what could happen in the future.
Right.
There's so many different levels of depression that and so many different levels that just aren't addressed because
Right.
when you get somebody who studies depression their whole life, great, you know everything there is to know about depression by the definition alone.
Right, but
That's don't know what's going on in
two
their
different,
head.
right?
You know, that's why if you see like if you go see a therapist or something like that, you know, when it comes to depression, 9 times out of 10, they're just listening to you. They're not even telling you anything. They're going to tell you certain steps on how to cope with certain things.
Right.
But the majority of the time, they're just going to let you talk because the only way to solve depression in a lot of people is if they just sit down and talk about it. And that's the issue. Because in society, a man has a certain position in life.
Right.
You can't just sit and talk about it because people will look down on you. You're like, what the fuck? Why?
We were talking about that's like such a real thing. And
it's terrible.
And I said it to you earlier, like a comedian said it, but I find it so true. Women, children, and pets get unconditional love. Men don't get that.
No.
If you don't provide something, if you don't have some type of value, like you're not.
Everybody.
And the bigger issue with what you're saying is that mental health and mental illness, and especially just mental health in general, is a very under care. Like it's a very it's not even a process. There's no.
That's why there's so many suicides in the military.
Oh God!
And the veterans that are coming back, they're trying to get this help, but nobody's listening.
Right,
so what do? They blow their heads off.
Right? Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. That's true. Right.
And don't get me wrong. I've always felt really strongly against suicide. I've always, even though when I didn't understand it, I thought of it like, oh, that's a coward's way out.
Right. A lot of people have that thought process.
Now that I'm older, and I've realized exactly how depression really works and anxiety and everything, and now that I have it, and it's not that it's not uncontrollable, but at some points you feel that it is.
Well, see, it's one of those things. It's like the symptoms of something can be managed.
Exactly.
Now, is it going to be easy to manage those symptoms, or is it 100%?
Depends on the person, really.
Is it 100% possible all the time to manage those symptoms?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Like you know what I'm saying. Like
I wish there was more that was done for that specific.
Oh no, absolutely. I agree with that.
That specific thing.
And that's actually
mental health is very important and needs to be looked at a lot more than it is now, especially in men. I get it. Let's focus on the women and children, and if your cat has the depression problem, we'll talk to your cat too. But I feel like because we're men, we get put secondary to everything else because we're supposed to have that standard of being a man.
Well, it's a very. It's like a concept that's been driven throughout history. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think we're all. I think the problem is sometimes I don't want to sound hippie. I don't want to sound like wishy-washy, but we're all humans.
Right.
We're all having our own experiences. We're all dealing with stuff at the same level and at some point. But. I think what makes me think about when we talk about mental illness, it actually makes me mad. Where my anger comes in on that is just we would go back into politics and stuff. We would go back into the government stuff, because here's the time I've been dying to talk about somebody else with this that maybe would have more knowledge into it, because we're talking about marijuana, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about mental illness. We're talking about marijuana and all these things, and that's what really brings this to me. What is the state of Illinois actually doing with all the new funding from tax revenue on marijuana? Like, and then when you go hand in hand
Where
with
did it go?
that,
Is it over there? Is it over there?
right?
As the politicians' pockets are getting full,
Right,
filled,
but that
and filled.
goes
Oh, I
hand
don't
in
know.
hand with
Vote for me.
all the state-funded mental institutions are getting defunded and are getting closed throughout the state. Like that is a
That's
a
100%.
provided care that's getting slowly taken away. That's why nursing homes like I work in start having overflow of some psych patients and stuff like that. Homeless patients, psych patients, things like that are getting mixed in with normal populations of nursing homes because more and more places are getting defunded, are getting closed. And it's like I feel like as a state it's a very corrupt thing because the more and more money you're making on all sorts of shit. It's not even just marijuana, you know, revenue. We're talking about you recently legalized gambling. You know, there's a lot of stuff they keep legalizing and upping our taxes on stuff. The same time, the same exact time they legalized marijuana, they upped our license plate stickers. You know what I'm saying? Like you're making more and more and more revenue, but you're taking away from the people. You're taking away services more and more. Like, so why is that hand to hand in this state? Like, if that like that's something that like my brain can't help but think about.
Can there be like dual governorship? Can we get like Ron DeSantis in this motherfucker, or like
something?
somebody who like is like doing good? Like, can we just can we be Florida or Texas, please?
Everyone, and then also my brain goes to this wonderful place. Like, it's just like everyone talks about the crime rate.
Oh, it's terrible.
And how terrible it is.
Much.
But the thing is, for me, is all the officials, you know, that we talk about it, but it's like, no, I've never seen any actual structure, any actual plan of anything to actually do about it.
I don't
like, you know, for me, like, our economy and the places in it is fucking people on a massive fucking level. So if you take, you know, just the cost of living in general, like, I'm not one of those people that say anything should be handed to you in life. You know, I feel like you should have to work for things. I feel like you should have to earn things. I'm not that side of the government thought process, like whatever party that would be considered. But what I do say is there should be more stuff based on your level of income. Like, if anything, like, absolutely. I'm not saying the rich people can't sit up in their fucking towers. That's never gonna change. But how come are you trying to push the poverty line so far up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whenever cost of living goes up, whenever people are getting raises, whenever the minimum wage is going up, I feel like as an economy, our country is like focused on driving that back. Like, how dare you peasants think that you can be in middle class now?
Fucking plebs.
But if that makes, you know,
no,
like,
I get it.
Because to me,
that's why the welfare state is so bad.
In theory, mind you, in my head, if you did more income level based properties, I'm not saying it's low income. I'm not saying that, like, but it's actually based on a fair fraction of your income instead of like, I'm just gonna sell you an apartment in shitty Maywood for $1,300 for a 1-bedroom when people are getting shot up in front of your house. You know what I'm saying? It should be based on income level. There should be, I don't know what it is. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not an expert, but there should be some fair fraction. You know, it should be this amount of your income to charge for this property. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think if you did that, you would automatically, you would naturally lower the crime rate. Like, if you actually gave people, there's always going to be assholes. There's always going to be bad guys. There's always going to be
somebody who wants your things.
There's always going to be bad guys. There's always going to be somebody that wants to be the villain, like, or whatever you want to say. But, like, the natural level of desperation, the crime that comes from like the opportunist criminal, the you're put in this position where you feel like that's all you have to do, you would naturally drop that dramatically.
Oh yeah, the crime.
Like,
I believe the crime rate would
like,
drop
just
significantly.
so why is that such a negative thing? Like, and I feel like that you're trying to keep this upside down fucking pyramid. Like, we have to be higher class than you. You want to keep the classes more than you give a shit about anything else.
Right. And you know, that's why I question this whole COVID fucking thing so much, is because
Right.
the last 2 years, who benefited from COVID? Walmart, mega corporations,
Big business, controlling stocks,
all that
controlling
stuff.
right.
The mom and
right?
pop shops got closed, forcibly closed.
Small businesses got fucked.
People were told you cannot eat inside, you have to only
Right,
take
right.
out, which destroyed places that just did not have a delivery service, you know. But then what happened? All these other companies, Uber Eats and
Okay.
this and that.
Answer text real quick.
Go ahead. You know, and it like they got rich. They're the ones that pocketed trillions of dollars, billions of dollars of all this new revenue, while somebody who puts their heart and soul inside of a little company
Right,
has to
right.
shut their doors permanently because they can't afford it anymore. And now people are saying, we want 15 an hour, we want 20 an hour. And now I hear McDonald's is about to give in to the people who are posted. They want $25 an hour.
Well, you know, there's.
Why would anybody want to be a nurse making
Well,
$18 an hour?
Right, you're taking away, but see here, and this is the other argument that I actually like. Who like that's me, that's us fitting into that class mind, that class's mindset. Like,
Mhm.
well, I shouldn't be mad at somebody for making a living wage.
Absolutely.
Like, that would just mean everybody should move up their wage. Everybody, if you want to base a job, like you're trying to say that they're, you know, skilled labor. Like, I've seen a meme that said like skilled labor is a myth. It's just classism. It's just you know what I'm saying. Everyone needs to step up. Everybody needs to just do the proper thing. Like, hospitals and nursing homes shouldn't be mega corporations making billions of dollars a year and only paying nurses $28 an hour.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the heart and the backbone of your business, you know, they deserve. If you went to school, especially for nurses, like for me, it's a little different. Like, you're a CNA, like I may have to do all the hard work, the physical labor of it, but for nurses, you went to school, you got an education. You know what I'm saying? Like, you studied this. If that was your passion or whatever, like, you deserve to make more money.
Right.
Like, you should be making
They put the
like a
footwork
trade,
in to
like,
gain
you know,
the experience.
right. And
use the experience.
But that's the thing. It's just like on a global fucking basis, like just companies that's the what is that the I'm trying to think of the word here, but like everyone's trying to get rich. Nobody gives a shit about anybody else. Like
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Basic definition capitalism.
yes, capitalism. Oh my God, capitalism. We're the home of the free, capitalism. Yeah, but I get it. It's like, if you look, it's such a difficult situation for me because, okay, if I took all my disposable income and started investing it in something, and I started this, and I moved up and I became a billionaire, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's great for me. The fact that I have that possibility in front of me, but like, in the meantime, as this country, why are you punished for just taking care of yourself? That's how I feel in this country. Like, you're punished for taking care of yourself. If you at least just take care of yourself and not rely on the government to help you, then you're basically like, we get what you want from you.
You realize that's only a new age way of thinking. The capitalism is what built this country. I want to say up until about the 70s, 80s, that's when mega corporations really started tightening everything. You know, that's when a lot of little companies started disappearing, and all you got were the big mega corporations, and we became corporate America.
That makes
yes,
sense.
there is still capitalism, but it became corrupt by the corporations. Now the corporations control the capitalism, so they dictate who they feel can come up. And what happens is, sure, we still have that path. It doesn't matter what color you are, what creed you are. You can still become rich. You got to work harder, and you got to overstep a lot of obstacles.
Well, right, but that's kind of like, in my opinion, it's like you're hanging the carrot in front of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
like,
it's also corporate fault that we live
yeah.
in the society we do now, and people think the way they do now is like, oh, you're getting money, you're getting rich. Well, what about me?
Right. Yeah.
And
That's right.
And I might get shit for this, but I don't give a fuck about you. I give a fuck about me and my family.
Well, right,
if you
right.
wanna,
I mean,
you
that's
want to
not
get
necessarily
my
a
success,
bad.
take
right.
a page out of my book. Don't take the money out of my wallet.
Right. No, but that's what I'm
shouldn't
saying.
have to
That's
pay
the
for
hard
whole,
line.
I
Like,
shouldn't have to pay for somebody who doesn't want to work. You know,
I mean, I can agree with that.
go
Like,
get a job.
Right.
Do
I mean,
something.
there's. I mean, I guess there's a lot of in that. There's a lot of circumstances that like there are. Here's the problem too. There's legitimate people that actually do need help.
Absolutely.
And then you also have a percentage of people that are just scamming the fucking system.
Absolutely.
Like there's a line you
Absolutely.
divide where it's like, do I actually help the people that I'm helping, or do I not help the people that don't
Right.
actually need the help? Like that's a hard line for anybody to actually make a decision on doing.
Right.
Now, I also think like is that the American consumers as big have a lot more fucking power than they know, or
Oh,
that the government
yeah.
wants us to know.
Oh yeah. What we as normal people have forgotten is
Right.
that if we don't want your product, we don't have to buy it.
Well, and that's
Your
the
whole
problem.
business depends
Right,
on
right.
how we feel. But nowadays, because corporate America it's corporate, what do you see? Every commercial is, oh, you have to have this. Oh, you
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
get
it's-
this.
but like
You
I said,
need
yeah.
this.
Consume and die, right? Like,
Right.
That's
Absolutely,
always been
full
my- like-
circle. Consume and die.
here's the thing. Like we talk about, and I really look at this sometimes as like the company that I work for, the business that employs me. Like the only reason they're in business, the only reason there even is like these giant corporate nursing homes, is the American economy. And the reason I say that is if you go back a couple of generations, and when people always talk about that too. Well, my grandfather bought a house for $20,000, and now it's worth $3 million, and the economy was different. That's true.
The dollar was also worth more.
Yes. 2-income houses. Having to have 2 incomes in a household to keep it afloat. That is what made nursing homes the business they are today. You can't take care of grandpa because you both have to go to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like one person can't go out and provide for his family no more. But they want to break up the American family. That's the ideal of it.
Oh,
That's
man.
what crushes our whole economy. That's the reasoning behind it. Like you want to make more money. You want to make more businesses. You want to
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you want to take the control out of that, like out of our hands. Like that's what it is. Like you can't they want to make sure you can't fully provide for your own. Like they don't want you to be too independent. They don't want you to be like that's
The American dream became somebody's fucking nightmare.
right. And that's and this is one other issue. This is one of those things. This is a very it would probably be a very controversial thing, but my opinion, when I say American people have more power than they realize, and we talk like, how about if you talked about the subject of like global warming, or like just the environment, right? I say, like this is what I say, the American people themselves could almost solve it. And think just for 1 second, think about this. If all of us consumers in America, it'll never happen. Nobody's gonna give up the stuff I'm gonna say. We all went 4-cylinder under, hybrid, or electric. And we refused to buy the other shit. You know what gas prices would go to? It would drop. The supply, the demand for it would drastically drop. The environment would fucking change. That's just this country, just its people.
Right.
We're like, fuck you, I'm not buying V12s. I'm not buying V8s. I'm not, that's not, I don't need that.
Right.
Like I said, never gonna happen. But if we did as a people, you would change the industry, so you would fuck the whole fucking structure.
Oh yeah, it would make them hiccup big time.
Right,
They would have
because
to
but
re-strategize
then
the
too,
entire thing.
you would bring up whole entire other industries that would be converting cars over to electric and changing engines and recycling. You would make a whole new infrastructure. But at the same time, you would like I said, you would drastically bring down pollution. You would drastically change the economy for the Americans better.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, never gonna happen.
Oh no.
Not a million years.
I like my Hummer.
Oh right, I mean, 8 miles per gallon, and whatever.
I like
but-
starting it in the morning and having to go get gas 30 minutes later.
Yeah, but that's the entitlement of the American people. Like we got our own foot in our fucking mouth at all fucking times. Like if everybody did stuff like that, or just we talk about electric or shit like solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be the answer to all of our electrical needs, but like every household and business throughout the country had them. You would bring down the stress on that.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
again,
if you manage to balance the natural gas and the solar industry or the natural energy industry,
those companies spend billions of dollars years to fight against that progress.
Exactly. But if they came and they're never gonna do it.
Right? No, yeah,
because they'll lose money, and that's not what they want. It's all about who can make the most money. But if every house was retrofitted with some kind of solar panel, not only would the cost of natural gas and oil go down,
right,
it would bankrupt some of these other companies.
Yes,
they can't have that.
And that's what it is. But I'm saying and that's where people in this where we lose our footing. Is that we actually do have that, who's telling you have to do this or have to do that in reality? You don't have to buy a V8, you want it. They advertise it to you, they want you to want it. That's...
The want
outrageously
outweighs the need.
Yes! on tons of shit. That's... the value size, the upsale, the add-on sale, and say, that these are all things that, you know what I mean. You go to a restaurant, they want you to get an appetizer and a dessert, don't they? That's an upsale. That's a you know what I'm saying? Extra. Do you need to pay $6 for that fucking drink? No, but you had it right. Fuck it, it's my money. I'll do what I want with it. You know what I mean?
That's actually a pretty good point, man. You go to a restaurant, a cup of milk. 1 cup of milk used to cost the exact same amount as a gallon in a store down the street.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. It's a you can have this. You want this. You can have it. You can. That's the mindset of it. And it's
exactly.
There are other options. There are other processes. There's other. You know what I mean? It's all decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came, man. This
I had a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about. I really did.
And I want you back. You can come on as many times as you want, man.
I appreciate that. I do.
This has been an awesome conversation. This has been very enlightening, very heartfelt. I'm glad you came on. I appreciate it, man.
I do. I love being here.
Awesome, dude. I appreciate every moment of it.
I'm gonna have to have you out to our place one of these days.
Oh yeah, man. We'll do that.
I'm telling you.
But as always, subscribe. Do you have any social media platforms that you use?
Oh God, I'm just on Facebook.
Oh, that's it. Okay, well, never mind. His name is Guy.
I'm in the past for technology. I'm surprised it isn't MySpace, but I wasn't there yet when that happened. So, you know what I mean? Pretty much.
Yeah, subscribe, leave a comment. That helps with the algorithm. Helps us get noticed and
puts me on a government watch list. That kind of shit. I mean.
Yeah, have fun, be safe, and as always, wear a condom.